As the rain began to drizzle, David Martinez continued to wipe the office windows with the old rags in his hands. The droplets traced irregular patterns on the glass, reflecting the city lights below like scattered diamonds. At 42, a single father, he worked nights cleaning different buildings to support his 8-year-old daughter, Emma. His reflection in the window showed a man aged beyond his years, but his eyes still held determination. That night, when he saw the elegant woman with the broken-down luxury Mercedes approach him, he only wanted to help. The parking lot was eerily quiet except for the sound of his squeegee against the glass. But this simple act of kindness would lead him to discover the biggest secret of his life. David's eyes were burning from exhaustion. The fluorescent lights of the office building cast harsh shadows across his weathered face. He had woken up at 6 a.m. that morning to drop Emma off at school, worked at Miller Construction in the afternoon, and had been cleaning the 15th floor of Meridian Plaza since 7 p.m. The building's marble floors gleamed under his careful attention, each surface polished to perfection. The calluses on his hands bore the marks of years of hard work. Every finger bore the scars of labor, but David never complained. His wedding ring, still worn 3 years after Sandra's death, caught the light as he worked. Emma was his world, and he was willing to make any sacrifice for his daughter. This evening had been especially tough. The construction site had been muddy from the morning's rain, making every task twice as difficult. He had to work 2 extra hours at the construction site and then rush to Meridian Plaza. The building security guard had nodded at him with familiar recognition as he entered. When the cleaning company, Patterson Services, gave him this job, it meant an extra $800 a month. The contract felt like a lifeline when he first signed it. Emma's school expenses, rent, food, every penny counted. David looked at every dollar 3 times. His wallet, thin and worn, contained exactly $47 and a picture of Emma from her school photo day. Emma's words from last week echoed in his ears. "Dad, my friend's got new shoes. Mine are really old." That night, David decided to work an extra shift to buy Emma new shoes. He didn't want her to feel embarrassed. As he pushed the cleaning cart into the next room, his phone vibrated in his pocket. The sound echoed in the empty hallway, making him realize how alone he was in the building. It was a message from Emma. "Dad, I finished my math homework. When are you coming home? I want to tell you what happened at school today. Our teacher praised me and had me speak in front of the class. I solved the problems all by myself." David's heart swelled with pride as he read her enthusiastic message. David smiled and replied, "I'll be home soon, Princess. I'm so proud of you for finishing your homework. Seeing how successful you are in math makes me very happy. Go to sleep now. You can tell me all about it tomorrow in detail." Emma's reply came immediately. "Okay, Dad. I love you so much. By the way, our teacher said there's a parent-teacher meeting tomorrow. Will you come? I want to tell her about my success." David's heart sank. He loved going to parent-teacher meetings, but this time the timing was bad. The guilt of potentially missing another school event weighed heavily on his shoulders. Tomorrow he had a big office cleaning job at Patterson Services and an urgent task to finish at Miller Construction. That meant losing 2 days' pay. But Emma's education was more important than anything else. He wanted to hear about his daughter's achievements. "Don't worry, I'll definitely come," he wrote. He started planning in his head. Maybe if he finished work early in the morning, he could go to the school during his lunch break. Meanwhile, strange noises began to come from outside. The sound of a car trying to start, then stopping. The wind rattled the windows of the building, creating an almost haunting melody. The sound of the engine, then silence again. When David looked out the window, he saw a woman in the parking lot below, trying to make a phone call nervously. The parking lot's security light cast long shadows around her figure. She was holding the phone to her ear, then pushing it away angrily. Clearly, the phone was either out of battery or had no signal. David continued to watch the situation. The woman was pacing around the Mercedes, checking the doors. She was wearing an expensive cashmere coat and high-heeled shoes. Her hair was perfectly styled, but her face showed signs of anxiety. She was clearly not used to this situation. Her hands were trembling, and she kept rummaging through her bag. 5 minutes passed. The woman now looked even more anxious. The night air seemed to grow colder, and she pulled her coat tighter around herself. She tried to open the hood but seemed unable to do so. She tried to start the car again, but the engine didn't make a sound. David began to feel guilty. Sandra, his wife, had always told him, "David, if you don't help someone in need, how will you set an example for Emma?" As kindness decreases in the world, the kindness we show becomes even more valuable. Sandra had passed away 3 years earlier from cancer. Her illness had progressed very quickly. Even in her final days, she thought of others and reminded David to be a good person. "Emma needs to know that her father has a good heart," she had said. "Making money is important, but character is more important. How will our daughter remember us?" David pushed the cleaning cart aside and headed toward the elevator. In situations like this, he felt like he could hear Sandra's voice. His wife's spirit seemed to be guiding him. "Go help her," it seemed to say. "Maybe she's a mother too. Maybe she has children waiting for her at home." The elevator had reached the 15th floor and was now slowly descending. David looked at himself in the mirror. His hair was disheveled, and there were signs of fatigue on his face. His cleaning uniform was clean but old. He hoped the woman wasn't scared. A stranger approaching her in the middle of the night. When the doors opened, the woman was trying to open the hood of her Mercedes. Her makeup was still perfect, but a few strands of hair were sticking out. She was clearly stressed. She tried her phone again but failed. Then she put her bag on the ground and buried her head in her hands. The sound of her frustration was audible even from a distance. "Madam, do you need help?" David's voice echoed in the silence of the night. The woman turned quickly. Her green eyes scanned David. At first glance, she was cautious because it was late at night and she was facing a stranger. But after seeing the sincerity and concern on David's face, she relaxed. The man didn't seem dangerous. "My car won't start and my phone is dead. I think there's an issue with the alternator, but I'm not sure." The woman's voice had an educated, clear tone, but there was a hint of anxiety beneath it. David was surprised. Most wealthy women knew nothing about the mechanics of their cars. This woman was different. She was using technical terms. It was as if she knew something about cars. "Would you like me to take a look? Maybe I can fix it." "You're very kind, but you don't have to. Maybe I can find a taxi or—" The woman looked around. The streets were deserted. The wind was blowing the leaves around. "It's almost impossible to find a taxi around here at this hour, especially in this weather. It won't hurt to take a look. Maybe it's something simple." David bent down under the hood. He took out his flashlight and examined the engine. The beam of light revealed a pristine engine bay, obviously well-maintained. He had worked at Riverside Garage when he first met Sandra years ago. Those were simpler times when his biggest worry was getting grease stains out of his clothes. The knowledge he had gained back then was now coming in handy. The engine was clean and well-maintained, but something was wrong. "The alternator belt is definitely broken," he said, "but I can find a temporary fix. It'll hold until morning." The woman approached curiously. "Are you knowledgeable about these things?" "I used to work in a repair shop when I was younger. I switched to other jobs after I got married. But you never forget what you learn." David pulled a rope out of the cleaning cart. "It'll get us through the night, but you must have it repaired tomorrow." For 15 minutes, David carefully tied the rope to the belt. His hands moved skillfully. The muscle memory from his garage days came flooding back. As the woman watched him, she noticed how meticulous and patient he was. Every movement was calculated. He didn't rush. His concentration reminded her of a skilled surgeon at work. "Give it a try," David said. The engine started. The sound was a bit different, but it was running. The woman looked relieved. She took a deep breath. How can I thank you? My name is Victoria Hamilton. David Martinez. There's no need to thank me. Everyone should help each other. That's how we survive in this world. Victoria took her wallet out of her bag. Inside was a thick stack of money. David noticed the expensive leather wallet and the gold credit cards inside. At least take something for your trouble, for helping me at this hour. I don't want money, David raised his hand to stop her. I just want you to get home safely. We all have tough times. Victoria looked at David more closely at that moment. He looked tired, but there was honesty in his eyes. His work clothes were old but spotless. When she looked at his hands, she saw the hands of a hardworking man. Calluses, small cuts, but clean nails. This man took his work seriously. Something about his dignity in refusing money impressed her deeply. Do you have a family, Mr. Martinez? Victoria's voice was filled with genuine curiosity. David's face lit up. Yes, I have an 8-year-old daughter. Emma. She's the meaning of my life, the reason I live. She's very lucky. Every girl needs a father like you. There was a strange sadness in Victoria's voice. The way she said it suggested she spoke from personal experience. I try my best to be a good father. After losing my wife 3 years ago, it's just the two of us. Sometimes it's tough, but Emma's smile makes it all worth it. These words changed Victoria's expression. A deep understanding appeared in her eyes. I lost my father when I was little. It wasn't easy for my mother to raise me alone. We went through a lot during that time. How old were you? 9, just 1 year older than Emma. Victoria's voice trembled. My father died in a car accident. It was a rainy night, just like tonight. The parallel struck both of them with an eerie sense of fate. David listened silently. There was a familiar pain in this woman, the same kind he had experienced. The recognition of shared loss created an instant bond between them. How did your mother cope? By working 3 jobs. She cleaned offices during the day, washed dishes at a restaurant in the evening, and did sewing at home at night. I don't think I ever saw her sleep. Victoria's eyes filled with tears. I tried not to be a burden to her. I helped her after school. David nodded. Children understand so much more, don't they? Emma sometimes tries to help me too. She's only 8, but she's aware of her responsibilities. Which school does your daughter attend? Lincoln Elementary School. It's a public school, but the teachers are excellent. Emma is very good at math. Pride filled his voice whenever he spoke about Emma's achievements. Victoria jotted down the information. I'm sure she's a very successful student. As the daughter of a father like you, she can achieve anything. I hope so. She wants to be an engineer when she grows up. I support her. David's voice was a mix of pride and worry. The worry came from knowing how expensive such dreams could be. Engineering is a great profession, but university education is expensive. Victoria chose her words carefully. David's expression changed. It's too early to think about that, but I'm trying to save as much as I can. Every month, no matter how little, I put money into Emma's education fund. The fund currently held $347, but he didn't mention that. Victoria paused before getting into her car. Mr. Martinez, may I ask you a question? Of course. Why did you help me even though you were so tired and didn't know me? You took a risk. David thought for a moment. Because I want my daughter to know me this way. As a good person, maybe one day she'll help someone else in need. Also, David paused. Also, the night my wife died, a nurse at the hospital helped me a lot. That woman stayed by my side for hours, even though she didn't know me. From that day on, I promised myself that whenever I had the chance, I would help others too. Victoria's eyes welled up. Your daughter is very lucky. She got into the car and rolled down the window. I'll never forget tonight. After the Mercedes drove away, David returned to his cleaning truck. Despite the dirt and fatigue on him, he felt at peace. He would tell Emma this story tomorrow. He wanted his daughter to know that her father was a good man. The night suddenly felt less lonely, and his work seemed less burdensome. But David didn't know that the encounter that night was only the beginning. The next morning, David went through his usual routine. He made breakfast for Emma, dropped her off at school, then went to the construction site. But his mind kept drifting back to the woman from the night before, Victoria Hamilton. The name sounded familiar, but he couldn't place it. Perhaps he had seen it in a newspaper or heard it on the radio. During his lunch break, he went to Emma's school. The hallways were filled with children's artwork and achievement certificates. The parent-teacher meeting was short, but Mrs. Johnson had wonderful things to say about Emma. Emma is a very talented child, said the teacher. The methods she uses to solve math problems are very interesting. It's as if she was born with an engineer's mind. The teacher's enthusiasm was genuine and infectious. David listened proudly. She's always building things at home. She makes bridges and buildings out of small building blocks. He thought about Emma's latest creation, a tower that reached almost to the ceiling of their small apartment. These kinds of talents should be encouraged. It's especially important to encourage girls in STEM fields. David nodded, but he felt uneasy. He wanted to support Emma's talent, but his financial resources were limited. The gap between his dreams for Emma and his reality felt insurmountable. That evening, while cleaning at Patterson Services, he received a message on his phone from an unknown number. Mr. Martinez, this is Victoria Hamilton. You helped me last night. I'd like to speak with you. It's important. Please call me. The message appeared on his cracked phone screen, and he had to read it twice to believe it. David was surprised. How had she found his number? He hesitated for a moment, then called back. His hands trembled slightly as he dialed. Mr. Martinez, thank you for calling. Victoria's voice sounded different over the phone. More formal, more serious. How did you find my number? To be honest, I did some research. What I learned about you really impressed me. There was something in her tone that suggested she had discovered more than just basic information. David felt uneasy. What kind of research? Please don't worry, I have no ill intentions. It's just, what you said last night keeps running through my mind. You mentioned your daughter Emma and your educational plans. Yes, but why would that interest you? Victoria took a deep breath over the phone. Mr. Martinez, would we be able to meet in person? I have an offer for you. What kind of offer? It's about Emma's education, but I don't want to discuss it over the phone. Could we meet tomorrow at noon at a place convenient for you? David hesitated. This was very strange. His practical mind warned him to be cautious, but curiosity won. Mrs. Hamilton, please don't misunderstand me, but Mr. Martinez, please listen to me. I'm just a prospective mother, and I see your daughter's potential. I want to help you. A prospective mother? I'm in the process of getting married and plan to have children in the future. After talking to you last night, I've been thinking a lot about being a good father. David was still suspicious. Where should we meet? Do you know the cafe at Center Park? Afternoon Brew. Is noon okay? The location was neutral and public, which somewhat eased David's concerns. Emma will be at school at that time. All right, I'll come. Thank you so much. And Mr. Martinez? Yes, please trust me. My intention is only to help. After hanging up, David thought for a long time. Who was this woman, and what did she really want? But on the other hand, he was curious. Maybe this could be a good opportunity for Emma. The possibility, however remote, was too important to ignore. That night he told Emma about the story from the previous night. His daughter listened with great interest, her eyes wide with wonder. Dad, did that woman thank you? Yes, my princess. She was very kind. So helping good people is a good thing. Yes, Emma. We should always try to do the right thing. Emma looked thoughtful. Dad, maybe that woman will help us one day. David smiled. I don't know, sweetheart, but help is given without expecting anything in return. But Emma's words stayed with him. Perhaps the child had a sixth sense. Children often understood things that adults missed. The next day at noon, when David arrived at the Afternoon Brew Cafe, he immediately noticed Victoria. She was sitting at a corner table with 2 cups of coffee in front of her. This time, she was wearing business attire, an elegant but modest suit. When David approached, Victoria stood up. Her professional appearance somehow made the meeting feel more legitimate. Mr. Martinez, thank you for coming. Please sit down. David sat across from her. I ordered coffee for you. I hope you like it. Thank you. David took a sip of his coffee. It was better than any coffee he had tasted in months. So, what is the reason for this meeting, Miss Hamilton? Victoria placed her hands on the table. Mr. Martinez, I want to be honest with you. I am not just a prospective mother. David's muscles tensed. What do you mean? I am Victoria Hamilton, founder of the Hamilton Foundation. I am the head of a foundation that works in the field of education. The revelation hit David like a bolt of lightning. David put his coffee cup on the table. A foundation? Yes, our foundation supports the education of talented but financially disadvantaged children. We focus on developing the potential of girls in STEM fields. David looked at her skeptically. And why are you interested in my daughter? Victoria took a deep breath. Because last night, when you were talking to me, I heard how you spoke about Emma, the love a father has for his daughter, the concern you have for her future. And when I looked into it, I found out that Emma is truly gifted in mathematics. You did research? I spoke with Mrs. Johnson. Emma's test scores, her project work, it's extraordinary for a child her age. Victoria's thoroughness both impressed and concerned David. David felt uneasy. You gathered information about my daughter without my permission? You're right, I'm sorry, but Mr. Martinez, Emma has tremendous potential. Such talents are rare and need to be nurtured. What kind of support? Victoria pulled a folder from her bag. Our foundation is prepared to cover all of Emma's educational expenses, from elementary school through college. Additionally, there are special math courses, science camps, mentoring programs. The folder was thick with detailed documentation. David looked at the folder, but didn't open it. What do you want in return? Nothing. That's the purpose of our foundation. I don't believe you. No one makes such a large investment without expecting something in return. Victoria smiled. Mr. Martinez, I'll tell you my real story. What I said last night was true. I lost my father when I was 9. My mother raised me by working 3 jobs. But there's a difference. I was lucky. How were you lucky? When I was 12, my math teacher, Mrs. Chen, recognized my potential. She took a special interest in me, invited me to her home for tutoring, and eventually found a scholarship for me to attend university. Victoria's voice carried deep gratitude for that teacher. David listened intently. Without Mrs. Chen's help, I wouldn't be here today. I graduated from MIT, founded technology companies, and now through my foundation, I'm trying to give other children the same opportunity. Where do I fit into this story? Victoria's eyes welled up. Mr. Martinez, while you were helping me last night, I remembered Mrs. Chen. Your love for Emma reminded me of the support Mrs. Chen gave me, and I thought maybe this isn't a coincidence. David was still skeptical. That's a huge coincidence. Maybe it is. But sometimes life works that way. Let me ask you a question. Is Emma's potential being fully supported at her current school? David couldn't answer. He knew that Lincoln Elementary School had limited resources. The truth was painful but undeniable. The program our foundation recommends includes the following. Victoria opened the file. First, professional assessments to fully evaluate Emma's abilities. Then a customized education program tailored to her needs. weekend STEM camps, and summer school programs. And all of this is free? Yes, we can also provide support for you. David looked up. For me? You can reduce your working hours. The foundation can provide you with a monthly scholarship so you can spend more time with Emma. This offer surprised David. How much is the scholarship? $3,000 a month. That way you can quit your night cleaning job and work only at the construction site. David was confused. This sounded too good to be true. What about the legal situation? Completely legal, our foundation is state approved. The contract is fully transparent with no hidden clauses. What do you expect from Emma? Just that she continues to study. Our foundation will evaluate Emma's progress every year. If she adapts to the program, the support will continue. David began reviewing the documents. Everything looked professional. I can't make this decision alone. I need to talk to Emma. Of course. You can also meet the other students in our foundation. You can see how the program works. David asked for time to make a decision. Victoria understood. The weight of such a life-changing decision needed proper consideration. I'll leave you my card. You have a week to think it over. That evening, David had a long talk with Emma. He explained the situation to his daughter in the simple terms. Emma listened with the seriousness of someone much older than her 8 years. So this woman will pay for my school expenses? Yes, but you'll have to work very hard in return. Emma thought about it. Dad, will this mean you'll have to work less? Yes, my princess. Then let's accept it. I see how tired you are. David hugged his daughter. Emma's maturity surprised him. Sometimes children saw things more clearly than adults. Throughout the week, David did some research. The Hamilton Foundation was indeed a reputable organization. The students they supported had been successful in universities and had won awards in science competitions. Every review and article he found painted a picture of genuine success and integrity. A week later, he called Victoria. We accept the offer. Great. Can you come to our foundation tomorrow? Bring Emma too so we can start the testing process. The next day, David and Emma went to the Hamilton Foundation's office. It was a modern building with spacious halls and laboratories. Emma couldn't take her eyes off it. Her excitement was palpable as she explored the facility. The testing process lasted 3 hours. Emma enthusiastically solved mathematical problems and logic questions. The results came a few days later. Emma was 2 years ahead of her peers. The confirmation of her exceptional abilities filled David with both pride and hope. Emma's special program can now begin, said Victoria. She'll come here after school during the week and work on special projects on weekends. The first month was very successful. Emma was making rapid progress in math. David was working less and spending more time with his daughter. The transformation in their daily life was remarkable. One evening, Emma came home excitedly. Dad, I learned robot programming today. Aunt Victoria is so smart. Aunt Victoria? Yes, she told me to call her that. And do you know what? She had a dad when she was little. David wanted to correct her, but Emma was too happy. The joy on his daughter's face was worth any confusion about family titles. 3 months later, David realized that their lives had completely changed. Emma now loved not only math, but also science. David felt both financially and emotionally relieved. The stress that had been his constant companion for years was finally beginning to lift. One day, Victoria visited them at their home. She didn't judge them for their modest home. Instead, she looked at Emma's projects in her room. The small apartment was filled with Emma's engineering creations, each more complex than the last. Emma is really developing quickly, she said. We might consider sending her to a private school next year. David hesitated. Won't that be too much of a change? No, Emma is ready, and I promise you, I'll be there every step of the way. That night, David looked at Sandra's photo. I think that woman came into our lives as an angel, he whispered. The photo seemed to smile back at him, as if Sandra approved of the new direction their lives had taken. Because sometimes the most unexpected moments bring the most beautiful miracles. And David now knew that helping Mercedes that night wasn't just a coincidence. It was a beautiful coincidence planned by life. The universe had a way of connecting people who needed each other most. Emma's future was now much brighter, and David, for the first time in a long time, looked to tomorrow with hope.